Welcome everyone to Autogefühl, your #1 resource for in-depth car reviews and your #1 community to discuss cars. Today with another best of comparison video, and it's about compact sports convertible from Audi. We're comparing the TTS Roadster and the S3 Cabriolet. And well, why would you compare such cars? Because, you know, manufacturers always say, oh no, you can only compare one which is exactly in the same segment then, but that's not the reality. Quite often people really decide between cars which are in a completely different segment or have something different approach because maybe they're at the same price level, for example, or they're really thinking about two different concepts. And well, these two cars, the TTS and the S3, they do have a lot of similarities because, for example, they are both basically built on the front wheel drive concept then. Of course, in the strong versions then, TTS and the S3, they have the quattro all-wheel drive, where you can also have the power at the rear part because they have so much power. Both very interesting cars and both have their advantages and disadvantages. Check it out right now, and later on at the end of the video we are going to discuss exactly these advantages and so pros and the cons sides. Let's go. The TTS especially has this very huge front grille and also got this aluminum look here to make it brighter and more aggressive. What accounts for all coupe and convertible versions, normal TT and also TTS Roadster, is that the Audi rings moved up here to the hood. Before that they were in the front grille, now they are on the hood, and that's kind of a resemblance to the Audi R8. So that makes this car, the TT, the smaller car, also a little bit more mature. And especially here in the TTS we got the bigger air intakes here in the lower part as well. So altogether, of course, we have a more aggressive look with the TTS, just as it should be. From a side profile, we can first see, just in general, that the size has, well, basically remained the same. Actually, the all-new TT, also here the Roadster, has even become a little bit smaller. So it's 3 millimeters lower, 2 centimeters shorter and 1 centimeter smaller. So, well, that's nothing to do with the chassis itself. It's more that, you know, design has a little bit changed, and so where you don't really feel the length. What has actually changed a lot is the wheelbase. There's a longer wheelbase now to make even more space in the interior. That's quite interesting. Well, and here about the design features, we still have from the second generation this curve here above the wheel, which is kind of unique for the TT still. About the alloys, just from serial production with the TT Roadster comes with 17-inch alloys. Then with the TTS you get 18-inch alloys from serial production. And here we got optional the 19-inch alloys. They are still a good choice. They have enough comfort and still not too complicated in everyday driving. So I would not go for the 20-inch because you get scratches there too easily. 19 is okay, but also the 18-inch, which are serial from the TTS, are also fine. Then if we continue with the sideline, here with the TTS Roadster we got the aluminum side mirror caps, and of course the whole side profile is a little bit stronger in the lower part, especially this design curve below here. And then what is very special for the TTS in general, or for the TT Roadster, we got just this one straight design line, and that makes the car so stringent. It's this stringent design line, and that really says I'm a design icon. I don't need so many curves to define my profile. That's just fine, that's just enough, and I'm a very sporty car. And two things that were especially changed here for the Roadster. First of all, we got a stronger A-pillar that if the car rolls over, you are very well protected. Just from the figures, that doesn't really happen, and especially for this kind of a sports car, you rather spin around, you don't really flip the car. But you know, you have to be safe in case, and so this A-pillar is much stronger than in the coupe. Altogether, the chassis is mixed from steel and aluminum. And of course, the second big thing is the roof. Actually, it's quite light, and they have saved 3 kilograms of weight now with the new roof. It has a Z-form to close and open again, and it takes about 10 seconds, and you can open and close it until the speed of 50 kilometers. Let's go to the rear, and we see, well, there hasn't been so much changes in comparison to the second generation. But now, before we get to our driving impressions, let's look beneath the hood. Of course, for such a special car, we also got the hydraulic dampers, and the whole engine room is, well, quite clean as we're used from Audi. This one is of course the top TFSI, the turbo petrol engine we have here in the TTS, 310 horsepower. All engines that are available right now are four-cylinder engines, and they all got 2 liters of capacity. This case here, the 310 horsepower, the normal TT Roadster would be then 230 horsepower, but the same basic engine. That's the pure roadster feeling in this sports car. So incredible. The acceleration figure here is 4.9 seconds from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour, or 0 to 60 miles an hour, here in the TTS Roadster. Here in the TTS you got the special racing sound, and you can also adjust it a little bit. We got different driving modes here. We got an auto driving mode, a comfort driving mode, and we also got this adaptive suspension set on comfort. Then I can put the Audi drive selector, I can see also here in the display in the front, and I can put it to the dynamic mode, and then we also have the better sound here. And well, we are in the convertible. Here we can really hear the sound from the back when we're already sitting in the car. There it is. So what do you think? Well, I must say I really like it. So, and then to the general driving feeling, this is here already the top sports version, the TTS. There will be a TT RS later on, of course, but not right now. But it's still quite comfortable with the ride, so they didn't really exaggerate it. So when you just have the normal ride on the street, even in a dynamic mode, it's actually quite comfortable. You don't have this very rough feeling. It's also okay for the long term. And then if we get to the dynamic part of the steering, I think this one is also a big change. First of all, the steering is quite progressive. That means I don't need long steering ways to really have an effect on the road. And it's just one turning of the wheel around, and then you have the maximum input of the wheels right and left. So now let's finally get to the roof. This is really interesting, so just watch the roof process. I told you it's a that form, so it falls on this way, and it should last about 10 seconds, so check the counter below there if that's really true. We see the wind cut behind me, it gets lowered automatically. It's optional, by the way, the electric wind cut. Well, and now it's kind of already done, and the windows move up as well. I can lower them again, of course, but basically that was really fast, I think. And then we can just turn the process around again. Let the sunshine in. And then we can also see another detail. When the windows move up now, we see they're really round here. It reminds me of the Porsche Boxster. It's really some nice piece of glass work. I think very amazing. And it's also good for you know, the basic wind features. But I can tell you already, this car is really for summertime, not like the A3 convertible where you can ride like all season. We got some nice new features now I'm talking about later, but basically this is really a summer sports car. So, and welcome here to the interior now. I think this is kind of the area where, well, the most changes have happened in comparison to the second generation of the TT. Here we got the super sport seats because we are in the TTS Roadster. They are serial with the TTS, but you can also pick them optionally for the normal TT. And then finally we got the new Audi virtual cockpit here. We've already seen it in the coupe. You don't have the satellite navigation from serial production, but you do have the virtual cockpit from serial production. So every TT comes with a virtual cockpit with the virtual instruments. But here that satellite view with the navigation, that is optional, and that is very expensive. 2,500 euros, for example, in Germany, optional, even if you already picked the TTS. But here, especially in TTS, we got the RPM meter very huge in the central position. That's of course because the racing style is stressed, and then we can change it again that we got the speed in the lower right and the RPM meter in the lower left. And just a short look at the trunk. Of course, you cannot expect too much from it. It's a very steep opening, so you can actually put something in here. You get a lot of space in here, that's quite okay, but it's not quite high. So, well, a small suitcase should fit in there, that's no problem. We also got a quite a practical net here to see. So let's see again what this car got. Brake full and preload the throttle. Now we're going here on the handling course with the Audi S3 Cabriolet. And let's see how it behaves here. Wow, it's really a lot of fun. It's kind of easy to drive as well. You feel that perfect balance. It's almost 50-50 front to rear balance. And well, what effect has that? You don't really understeer, it doesn't push you out the curves. And at the same time, you don't really brake out in the rear. So that perfect balance really makes a very harmonic feeling on the racetrack. The ESC also has 2 levels. And we got it all turned off, but still it does not go sideways. So really harmonic ride, easy to go, very fast. And it's not too nervous, but still you got that perfect balance to really flow it around the corners. Comparing it to the Audi RS5, there you feel you got the bigger car, the larger car, it weighs more. And here, with a very light car, it's so much fun to go around the corners and without having to care about understeering. That's really so great about this car. And I can really imagine that people really step down from a bigger car to that compact sports car just to have more fun. It's a real beauty, and it offers the comfort and the feeling of a really big GT, but it's still a compact convertible. So that's kind of the key to this car. What I first realized here as a co-driver, you get a really clean and modern atmosphere. There aren't many buttons here, so that you got a very good overview. And also, well, this is black plastic, but it has a kind of a structure in it, so it doesn't look too cheap. And I really love the air vents here, they look very classy. You're really suited for the winter here. You got the seat heating, as well as the air scarf. Okay, Mercedes calls it air scarf, so this we call it here neck heating. And it's coming out right here. The seating position is really great, and also the steering wheel, the small racing steering wheel. It's a perfect handling with it, and the seats are on the one hand sporty, and you got a good support for your shoulders, and on the other side they're very comfy. I could imagine like going from Germany to Lake Garda or something like that, as we did last year with the Audi. This is kind of the perfect compromise between sportiness and comfort at the same time. So altogether, I can already conclude now, this is really a dream car. The price in Germany is started at 48,500 euros. Well, that's expensive for a car in that kind of segment, but it's kind of cheap if you compare it to other dream cars, because this is already a dream car, and when you compare it to other very big, large GTs, you maybe pay twice the price. So this is, in that comparison, kind of cheap. So I think a lot of people will maybe choose this one as a smaller car, maybe even come from bigger cars and step down, because they want something to suit their city driving as well as the overland GT driving. Really a hard choice, which one would you actually go for here? And well, I have to think about it very long, because on the first hand, I've driven the TTS Roadster on Majorca, so beautiful from the scenery, and really great roads to drive it, very sporty. It's definitely the more sporty approach to the car. You have, I think it sticks more to the ground in my opinion, and really such a fun sporty ride. However, also the S3 Convertible, that was one of the big surprises, I think, because the A3 Convertible is a very great convertible, I think, and maybe one of the best all-rounder cabriolets on the market so far. But with the S3, you can really take it up and step it up the level to a very sporty approach then. And I was really surprised by that, how good that actually really worked. And it's not as sporty actually as the TTS, but already has a lot of fun. And what I was surprised of, it was even more fun than going in a bigger convertible, for example, an S5 or even in an RS5, because you have the smaller car, less weight, and it's more agile in all of the corners. I'm really not sure which one I would go for. If I would use it maybe as a primary car, then I would go for the S3, because you have space in the rear for other people and even more trunk. If you would take it as a secondary car, I would rather go for the TTS, because then you have the rather sporty approach, and if you have some other car for your everyday stuff, then you can take this one. So that's my conclusion about these ones, and also want to hear your opinion on these two cars.